Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Wongers here. I couldn't even wait like 2 seconds into this episode to go into it. Just Darcy here.
This is Vicky Umar. How y'all doing today?
Good,
man. Good.
By the way, everyone has seen this episode of She-Hulk. Okay, I was pretty sure Tactix wrote in the thing he'd seen it, but I couldn't help myself.
So like a spoiler warning for anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen She-Hulk episode 4. We'll get into that later. But before we start on our agenda today, I do want to this is a point of pride for me. I have two announcements. First is a point of pride. One is a big time announcement, which will lead into our. So I am a member of a website called My Anime List, and I have been adding to that list for I think since December 2018. Clearly, I was bored. But nonetheless, I found my anime community, and I begged my fellow anime watcher Darcy to get on there. Now, he got on there. He added me on a friend, but he wasn't really adding to his collection of animes that he's watched. While I was meticulously finding every movie, TV series, anything I could find, and I wanted to increase my stats because they show you stats of anime watching and manga reading. So I was getting up there, and I was just adding to your stats, you feel kind of lonely. So you kind of want to talk to someone about this stuff. And I don't feel like talking to some random anime people. So I'm like, yo, Darcy, today, he has, I should also point out that Darcy has undertaken a feat, an anime feat that I am just waiting until I retire and I have nothing other thing to do. He is watching from the beginning to the end of One Piece, the anime. For those of you who don't know, One Piece is possibly the largest anime collection of episodes. I think they're still going, and they're at 1,000 episodes. T, you wouldn't even...
Don't even ask me. Before you go on, just out of curiosity, I went on... what was it, Funimation, just to see, okay, what's the damage here? And I was like, nope. I saw the number, I was like, fuck that.
What was the number that you saw? Because I just Google different numbers and get different numbers. So what was one you saw?
Man, I lost count at 20.
Okay,
oh my god!
No. Okay, isn't 24 episodes the standard anime?
I think he means 20 seasons.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's currently 21 seasons on Crunchyroll. And I was looking into it. So the first season is 61 episodes. I'm currly on episode 55. Yeah, but I'm on episode 55, and I've been on this for 2 weeks. So to put this in context, how I move. Yeah, but
yo,
it's good.
Anime street cred is what I'm saying right now.
It's good. Okay, but there's 21 seasons so far, and it's planned to continue into 2027. Is what the creator Google says, something like that. It started in 1997 to put it in real context. Okay, it's One Piece is literally a show. I was saying to somebody, I think it was you, Umar. It was where somebody could come in as a child, watch this show, fall in love with it, become an animator, and then actually get a full-time job working on the show that they fell in love with because it's been around long enough for them to do that. Literally. And then
retire.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, I mean, it depends on your age and when you saw it. If you're 5 when you saw it, by the time you got a career. But yeah, no, this show is there's a reason. They designed it, and I could tell very early on in the first few episodes that the creator designed this show to go on for a long time. Unlike a Naruto or a Dragon Ball, even though it comes from the same era and it's literally by the same studio as Dragon Ball, you can tell that those shows are it's all about one-upping each other, and to a point where how much bigger can the battle get. And Dragon Ball does that with Super. Like they do that, but it takes time for them to figure it out. This is more designed around the adventure of traveling through the sea and going to all these different places in a world, like a normal sized world, right? And so there's so much nuancy small stories that usually you just kind of skim through, and they're like, no, all those small stories are the part of this story. And so it's years of stories. Like I can tell right out of the gate, it's everything that has the Dragon Ball back in the day tone mixed with Naruto, mixed with Ranking of Kings, mixed with like something else I can't put my finger on right now, but it's a fantastic show. Sorry, I this wasn't a segment on One Piece, but you brought it up, so you led me right into it.
I'm happy you did. I was kind of hoping you would do too, but like I just wanted to point out that like Tactix and I have very different let's say capabilities of absorbing anime, and we both are just like, nah. It's just like for different reasons we're just like, no thank you. You're just like, challenge accepted. The interesting, and I actually want you to say this on air, because like my man Darcy, when he told me about this, I'm like, bro, you're insane. And he's like, no, I got this figured out. I can get this done in like 6 months. I'm just like, how? Please tell us the math.
I know my general run rate. Like I can crunch a season in like a week to 2 weeks on average. I forget how I forget the math that you're actually saying, is like I actually crunch some numbers where it's like I watch probably like something like 2-3 episodes a day. And like it just the math alone based on how it is, like I usually pick up a show and crush it in a month, right? Like I've crushed like what was it? It was like Friends once in like a month. I crushed some other show. It was like 10 seasons in like 30 days. Like I can crush shows quickly. It just has to do with my work. Because you can like multitask. And so I just decided, I'm like, the one thing that really bothers me a lot of times is I'll pick up a show, I'll get really, really into it, it'll be really, really amazing, and then I'll be done it sooner than later. And I wanted something, I love having a show I can always go back to and don't have to like worry about running out of content. So that's why I picked this up. And thank you TikTok, because it was all of the like sentimental like memes and stuff like that, and One Piece showed up more than Naruto, and I was like, damn, these scenes look good. Like what is this? Like this show looks like it's my thing. So that's why I picked them up.
All right, I'm gonna quote you to you, but also to everybody else. So T, you got to listen to this, like this confidence that this man walks in with. Let me put it this way: I crush 10 seasons in a month, usually to a month and a half. Not even trying to binge. And this is great when there isn't a ton of other things keeping me busy. This show is twice as long, and the anime, which means I'll watch it half to 1/3 as fast. So that means, to me, it's about 4 to 6 months of content if I don't take breaks, which I will. So let's say 8 months. This was August 25th. So like, I'm just
that's commitment.
Who's better? Like who's better?
That's commitment. I commend you for that, bro. And the fact that you calculated it too, like that's
yes, exactly.
It's less like commitment in my mind and more like just having a consistent runway to keep coming back to. Like it's like I just don't have to like worry about like every time I'm like, what do I want to watch? I'm like, oh, it's One Piece. I'm gonna be done season 1 probably by like Monday.
Your birthday. Oh, Monday.
No. Bro, I'm on episode 55. I'm in the middle of episode 55 and there's 61 episodes. Put it like just do the math. It's not my birthday.
No. I gotta say this. Like I love that like you have now become the fastest absorber of anime. I'm the middle and T is at the bottom.
I'm okay. I'll take that L every time.
Yo, can you imagine if I actually watched it dubbed though? Like the speed I'd be going would be doubled because I can only watch it when I can read. I can't watch it like in the background, so I have to like watch it when I can read. So I only multitasking at best, right? So if I knew Japanese, one of those two things, I'd just be flying.
All right. Well, nonetheless, I needed to give respect to one of our bros for like this like. So for our next announcement, which is also going to lead into our next topic, is this weekend, starting today, will be tomorrow and the day after as well, is what's called D23. So if you've been on Twitter or been on Facebook, D23 is basically like the Disney Fan Expo that they do, I think, like every year. I'm not sure if it's every year. I could be mistaken. But anyway, nonetheless, it kind of started in 2009. There hasn't been many of them, but like of late, it's been what Disney uses to like there's Fan Expo and then there's this. So they're just like, yo, whatever we just don't get done in Fan Expo, we're just going to tease for D23, which is exactly what they did at this Fan Expo. Like we got, I think, like what, 2 trailers? So like we know a whole shit, like, well, hopefully a whole shit ton of trailers and announcements are going to be released today or tomorrow or Sunday. So to lead into our first topic, which is D23 MCU rumors and our hopes. The first, well, it would be hilarious if it was, but an MCU rumor has gone around, which is also the title of our episode today. It has to do with Miss Kim Kardashian. She has decided to pipe in on the MCU. Specifically, she feels she deserves to join it.
Ain't she busy enough with Kanye tweeting about her bowel movements? like, I'm sorry. Go on.
No. You know what? Actually, Darcy, you go on. I would like to hear more of your thoughts on this.
I mean, here's what I said to Umar. 1, hilarious. I hope Kevin Feige rolls his eyes at this. But then 2, but then I had a thought. Okay, if she is going to be in the MCU, this is how I would love it to go. Okay, Loki plays Kim Kardashian in a moment, so he like transforms into Kim Kardashian, and then plays herself, so she gets to play herself because I bet as far as she can act, and then and then she gets to make a joke that is basically just punned right at Kanye West. And then it goes back to Loki and moves on. That's how I want her to show up in the MCU. It's not how she wants it, but that's how I want it.
Yo, T, I gotta hear your opinion because you've been silent on this news since I dropped it. So, like, yo, what do you think of Kim Kardashian joining the MCU?
I don't see it happening. I mean, maybe I think at most I could see her showing up in She-Hulk, because I mean they got Megan Thee Stallion and she can't act, so I'm sure. I feel like that's the only way she'll fit in, because she ain't becoming an Avenger anytime soon. If she is, then it's a big fuck you to the MCU at that point for me. Like, they're already on thin ice with me, but if they make that move and she becomes an Avenger, no, or at one of the X-Men, nope, it's done. It's over for me.
It's just
that's it. That's it.
No.
Bro, I got skills, bro.
Oh, no, right. And of all people too, like, wow.
Oh my god, that is. Oh my god. Yeah. So she wants to do it because she finds it fun to do, and like I think she was quoting the fact that Elon Musk was also in like an Iron Man movie, but like,
not the same.
Oh man. For me, I agree. Like, if it's done in She-Hulk, I can see them doing it well, because like She-Hulk is like, we'll get to that later, but like they're killing it right now with like all cameos. But like, I really want Kevin Feige to be like, you want to do, do you want to be just walk in the background sort of thing, like maybe wave at one point. I don't want him to take this in any way seriously. Because nah.
I'm looking up her IMDb, by the way, just to like make sure. I want to check her street cred. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. I want to check her street cred. She just played herself and everything. So that's I mean, like no surprise. 27 different roles, but they're all one role at the end of the day. Even in Paw Patrol, she just shows up as herself. So I'm just saying, like, I mean, I don't want to know what she's doing in Paw Patrol. 2 different movies, but but regardless, yeah. I mean, Tactix, you had the best point. It's even better than my low-key piece. Is Megan Thee Stallion. Even when Megan Thee Stallion showed up and played herself, somehow when she just said what she said in the courtroom, it didn't feel like it took me out of the film or show for like a half second, where it's like, how are you acting as yourself? And it doesn't sound like acting. It just sounds like a person who just shows up and says something. Like you know what I mean? So what is she? I digress.
Okay, well, nonetheless, it sounds like unanimous that like we do not want it to be done seriously, and we would like it to be less than a cameo and just like a walk by. So, moving on. The next bit of rumors that have been going around for D23 is, you know, like we're hearing things like the trailer for Echo will come out, the trailer for Ant-Man will come out, that we're going to potentially get another trailer for Black Panther, and I think there was also thoughts that we'll see pictures of Blade. All of this just rumors. And I think it was our last week's episode that the three of us like just heard the rumor that Giancarlo Esposito and Denzel Washington potentially could be cast. So like this weekend, sometime we'll find out about this, which means next week we will either be very disappointed or very excited to discuss what was announced throughout the weekend. But one rumor has been persistent this week that is yet to be announced, has been about Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four. And that is of Jodie Comer being cast as her. Now, I don't know how much you guys know of her, but like I've seen her in the first season of Killing Eve. I've seen her in Free Guy. Actually, no, the three of us watched Free Guy together. So like we've all seen her in Free Guy. I've seen her in the first season of Killing Eve. I find her to be a very versatile and awesome actress. So I can see Sue Storm with her. If they still keep John Krasinski, which I heard they're not going to do, but if that's false, then we'll see. But if John Krasinski and her, that actually would be age appropriate for the comics, because like Reed Richards is supposed to be much older than Sue Storm. Nonetheless, what do you guys think? Like, are you pleased with this casting? T, let's start with you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I enjoyed her in Free Guy. I'm not familiar with her body of work, so I can't really say much else. She's super attractive. She was great in Free Guy. So I think she could pull it off based off of what I've seen so far. It is a little disappointing that they're not going to keep John and not get Emily. What is it? Emily Blunt? Yeah. So like I would have loved to see them come into the fold, but perhaps maybe they want to go for someone, or like they want to go for a younger feel or a younger Reed Richards and Sue Storm. So this casting, I guess, if that is the case, makes a little bit more sense in that regard. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see who they decide to go, or who they decide to cast as Reed Richards now going forward. Because I mean,
rumor has been Jason Segel.
Jason Segel,
Marshall from How I Met Your Mother.
No way. What? Okay,
I heard it. It's just,
man. They might as well cast Kim Kardashian as Reed Richards, man.
that
Whoa!
I don't. Siegel
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, Siegel is not that. Like, wow, that you. I mean, come on, put some respect on Siegel's name. He ain't Kim Kardashian
No, okay,
level.
listen. He's not bad, but I do not see him as Reed Richards at all. I'm sorry. You have to convince me with a trailer. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I
don't see it either.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, one, just the Kim Kardashian part just still threw me for a loop.
I was like, damn, what did he do to UT?
Yeah, I know. I feel like Siegel, being like one of those like comedic actors that we've seen, has a chance to be like the most surprising dramatic actor, right? Like the most surprising versatile person. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've seen him in something that's shown me he has a bit more depth. But I feel like he's a man who's got chops. He's definitely not what I would think is the first pick, but I don't know what it is. Something about him, I feel like he could present himself in a way where you would take him as ridiculously intelligent.
The thing is, if they're gonna go this route, then they might as well just keep John Krasinski. And
I agree,
because like at that point, then it's not an age thing, because Siegel, I feel, is the same age or relatively the same age as John Krasinski, and it just seems like an odd pairing, because like they're supposed to be in a relationship, Reed and Sue. So like that, I just don't see that chemistry meshing well with that pairing.
I think I heard that Krasinski didn't want to take that role. I think his whole point of showing up in the MCU in Multiverse of Madness was to honor the fans who kept asking for him. But that was his like entire like, hey, you've asked for it enough, so I'll show up and do this. But this is not what I really want to do. And I think he wanted to like get involved in producing or directing something. And everybody's like, oh, well, direct and act in. And it's like, that's not what I really want to do. Like, that's not where I'm trying to go with this. So I think he was just honoring people.
You were right. Like, they are the same age.
And so it just seems off.
Yeah. There was a deleted scene. Again, rumor has it. There were reports that there was a deleted scene from Multiverse of Madness where it actually showed as a post-credit scene that Reed Richards was watching all the events that took place in the when he was killed and like everybody else. Oh, but sorry, Darcy. Actually, we didn't ask you. What did you think of Jodie Comer as Sue Storm, the rumor?
Yeah, I think she's very versatile from what what I've seen mostly from her from Free Guy. I might have seen something else, but I think majority is Free Guy for me. But even still, you know, she did play different stuff there in terms of like slight personalities, and I just, you know, watching some of the behind the scenes of that movie after we watched it, you know, just how much the cast was talking about how versatile she is, how much she was like learning accents on the fly, and pulling them off and switching between them. So I mean, she presents to me like, you know, both somebody I think who could, you know, pull off a superhero, as we've seen in Free Guy. You know, she'd pull off the badass, but at the same time, you know, she looks like somebody who could come across like a scientist. Because let's just be honest, we go back to that last Fantastic Four, you know, what's her name, Jessica Alba, does not look like a scientist. She did not convince me one bit she knew what she was doing in the lab. She knew only thing what go on.
Technically speaking, Kate Mara was the last one. Unless you don't want to count that one at all.
yeah. So, Umar, you know the answer to this. We don't count that film. This literally is a gap in my memory until you brought it up. Like I literally forgot about it because that's how bad that film is. Potential to be good, unbelievably horrible. But yeah. So even then, I don't know. She like that. They didn't present us very good. Well, I don't know. They were kind of like good scientists, but then they weren't at the same time, right? They were people who could portray intelligence, but the script writing was done in a way where it was like it didn't feel intelligent. But anyways, regardless, Jodie here is somebody who she could present herself in a way where I believe like you are a scientist, and I could see her having like dialogue that I would be very engaged in. So I'm all for it. And Siegel, that rumor there, we do need to see her. We do need to see something to prove that. But I have a little more faith in him than I feel like you guys do.
I should say that, firstly, I'm a big fan of Jodie Comer from Killing Eve and also from Free Guy. She is incredibly talented, and I think she's won an Emmy twice, or at least once, from her work on Killing Eve. I think she could do. I feel she could do any role. She looks the part for Sue Storm. I think she would have been a good pairing to John Krasinski. I find the Jason Segel thing odd. I agree with you, Tactix. Like, it's an odd choice for me. I would have gone a different way if we're not going to get Jason Segel. Sorry, if we're not going to get John Krasinski. But we have yet to see. So clearly next week we'll have a much bigger story to bring forward and a discussion point on this. But like, I see what you're saying, Darcy. Like, Jason Segel's in no way bad, and he can do it. He's not my first or second choice, is all I'm saying.
Fair.
All right. Well, we will of course be discussing next week in full detail all the actual announcements that are yet to come for today, but will be more than discussed for next week. So moving on to our next bit of geeky news, has to do with at present, it seems to be a legitimate revelation about a very big DC character in the comics. Now, the Joker has been a mystery in terms of who he is. They have changed his background many times. Jack Nicholson was a mob guy. We don't know anything about the Joker from the Batman animated series. The Batman animated series, he was a mob enforcer who then became the Joker. In the comics, his background has changed many times, but there's never been a name. Jack Nicholson was called Jack Napier, and that was about it. So DC has decided to give an official name, again, at present, until they decide to reboot the whole thing like they did with the New 52. But this week has shown that they have revealed the Joker's name as Jack Oswald White. This was revealed in an alternative universe where Thomas Wayne was Batman and the Joker was Martha Wayne, and they had lost their son that night. So Martha apparently had discovered that Bruce was living and was the Batman in another universe. And she decided to check out and find out who was the Joker in her universe. And it turned out that the Joker had actually remained a failed comedian, didn't go insane, and had a family that, while very poor, was happy with. So she decided, I think, I don't know. I haven't read the comic, but I hear that he was working as a janitor and she may have killed him. I don't know. Nonetheless, she decided to go back in time and ensure her son survives and redo her universe to fit with the way the mainstream universe has gone. Nonetheless, all this is to say that we found out that the name for the Joker potentially is Jack Oswald White. I don't understand the picture.
It's Jack White. He's an American singer.
Oh,
yeah, I figured it was like that.
From the White Stripes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he did not age well. Anyway,
there's our Joker.
So nonetheless, I just thought I would ask what you guys thought of this big revelation. Darcy, let's start with you, man. What do you think of the revelation of the Joker's name?
I mean, DC just can't get their timing right on nothing. I think most people are gonna be upset because the mystique of the Joker. One of the things is not knowing his origin, and the more they keep exploring his origin, the more they're like, not helping themselves with that. It makes him more. I mean, like there's two parts to this. Like, it makes him more villainous when we don't understand him, and there's no reasoning really behind it, right? Some men just want to watch the world burn. It's one of the greatest lines about the Joker there is, and so I think there's gonna always be like iterations that we need to create of the Joker where we don't know. I think like every other movie iteration outside of the Joker series is ones where we just don't need to articulate where he came from. That's what makes him so much worse, because we can't anticipate him. If we were in a better DC climate, this might be really interesting. This might be like a really fun and yet controversial conversation amongst the community. Right. But in the climate DC's in right now, I feel like it's just like, why? But I mean, you know, it's just somebody writing a comic and that's what they wanted to do. And so cool. But it's just like ill-timed with everything else. Like, we're just waiting to find out if Black Adam has a chance of being good. And like, we're just like hoping it's all right, you know, like it's like a good popcorn flick. Like it is the Fast and Furious of DC. Like that's what we're hoping for right now. And you out here just telling truths about the Joker that probably nobody was asking for. So that's what I think.
T.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Darcy. I really liked the mystique of not knowing Joker's origin. I mean, obviously we've had iterations of Joker in the past where, you know, he was a failed comedian or he was like a mob gangster and whatnot. And then they had that storyline. I think Umar, you were telling me a while ago where there was like 3 different Jokers or something like that. So, and then of course, you know, with Heath Ledger, we have his like many different interpretations of his backstory, which I found to be really intriguing as well. So I think that was part of the whole mystique with the Joker, in that we didn't really know where he came from and how he got unhinged. And that was part of like the appeal for him, right? Joe Chill. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that element. And now that we kind of know, it's like, I mean, it does, to be honest, it doesn't really affect me all that much because these comic book storylines are always changing. I don't even, and to be honest, I'm not really deep into the comic book world, so I don't even know what's going on currently. Like, I live the comic book lifestyle vicariously through you, Umar. So you basically tell me what's going on, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. And then I pretty much forget about it afterwards, unless they do it into a movie or something, right?
I can get you the comic books.
Yeah, but will I read them is a question, right? Yeah, I don't know. I hope that this kind of stays within the comic book world and they don't really explore or expound on this in like the movies. I would like them to kind of keep that element of mystique with the Joker, because it just adds to his character.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So Maybot is stating that she would like the Joker to actually be Alfred.
That'd be a crazy twist.
Like if he was Alfred the whole time,
or that Alfred became the Joker.
Well, I mean, I feel like you'd have to have him be both things at the same time. He can't just like grow into it. Then it's like, how is he fighting him and not and he wasn't involved into him yet. Yeah. But like the fact that like he would be like taking care of him and then going psychotic and like sending him to fight himself, that would be, I mean, that'd be a cool variant, like a side off like comic, not part of canon kind of thing. She's just memeing. She's just trolling us. but
it's still interesting, Maybot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm on the same page as you guys. This just sounds like Warner Brothers or / DC. Like DC knows they're in big trouble. They're like currently defending themselves against like online hate about Batgirl, and then on top of which they released a a new Black Adam trailer like right before D23. It's like nice flex there. Like, yes, we know you're still around.
Does that also mean that they're not confident in it because they released it before everything else? It's like, you release those, like, wait to release that, like, as like, your last big moment. You released it like super early. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's not a bad flex, though, I got to admit. Like that trailer was a step up from what I've seen.
Yeah. It had the best idea of a plot.
Yeah.
And by that I mean it wasn't really giving us the full plot, other than the fact that it was giving us a direction of what's happening here. There's a justice society, and they're meant to go after the hero, villain, anti-hero in this story. And what I watched it and all I could think of was, man, it'd be better if they actually just made him a full villain in this film, and it was still named after him. But the whole, like, if this movie's done this way, it would actually be a good film, which is like, it's actually kind of focusing on the heroes, the Justice Society, going after him. And it just spends like half the time showing how much they can't take him, and he's a real like issue. And instead of it being like, we know it's going to be heavily like his perspective, and it's going to feel kind of like Venom. So
to be honest, I would have preferred if they that's what I would have found interesting. And it's kind of goes like the way X-Men First Class did, where like Magneto, you're kind of hoping that Magneto won't go down the way he does, and he does at the end.
Yeah,
that's what I would be actually happy about.
Yeah, but like if they edit this in a way where I already know when the trailers are not going to, but if they edit it in a way where you're on the side of the Justice Society, wondering if he's going to be good or bad, and you feel the weight of like he's not good, and just like that would be an impactful story. But I know it's not going to be like that.
It's not going to be that nuanced. So wait, hold on, T. So you actually liked would you say that, because like Darcy said to me, and Darcy, sorry, I'm speaking for you right now, but like you said your interest for the movie went from a 20% to a 30%. T, did that happen with you, or like that small of an increase, or would you say it was a significant increase?
I wouldn't say it's significant. I still don't really give a fuck about this movie, but the trailer, I got to admit, it looked pretty good, but not enough for me to really care. Like, I'm not going to be rushing out to see this. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's Friday night, got to go get my ticket and wait in line and shit. Nah, I'm just like, if I got a day free, sure, why not? But other than that, yeah, it is what it is.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, we will see. I guess we all agree that like the Joker reveal was not what we would have liked, but whatever. And also the Black Adam trailer, cool. And
what's your opinion on it?
Honestly, I would say I'm at the same opinion as I was when I first saw the other trailer. It made me feel like less that it has hope and more that there was more hope you could have done with it. Like I don't believe they're going to do a good job or as good of a job as they should do. But watching the trailer made me realize like they had the opportunity, and I don't have faith that they'll be able to fulfill it. I may be pleasantly surprised. Not counting on that, and I'm willing to lose money on that bet. So yeah, I'm just kind of like.
I'm just looking up the release date for this movie. It looks like there's really nothing else coming out at that time that like I mean, there's other things, but like things that we know of.
Yeah.
And I think that The Rock the one thing his team is always very smart of is choosing their release dates. And low competition, high like I don't even like he's not really even marketing this very much himself. Actually, now I think about it, like he hasn't really been talking about that much.
He's talking about it on Twitter.
DC's got way too much heat on them right now, man. So it's probably a smart move for them for him not to market it.
They're like, yo, Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Wait,
mean,
isn't
no.
that associated with the Flash and Ezra Miller? Nah. That's we a completely different thing,
Well,
man.
no. First off, The Rock would be the one who would choose because he's a press machine, right? Like he
Yeah.
studied the Will Smiths, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, like of the world and how they know how to like do press. So he would do press. So if he's holding back, it's like I feel like that's a sign of like he's seen the the film obviously already, and he put a lot of work into it, and he was very proud while he was filming it. But the product doesn't always come out that way. So maybe he saw it and he's like, yeah, I'll put the bare minimum. Like we're probably gonna see like October, he's gonna start talking, and he's not gonna put like months and months into it. So yeah, he'll probably just go heavy like the week before, and the release date is perfectly primed, and he's gonna make some money. Like it's gonna happen because I mean, like if I want to go see a movie, and we all gonna know we're gonna see it, and there's nothing else going on. Like if this released the same week as Woman King, like pushing this one out.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like if the Woman King came out like during any movie other than like, I can't even think of a movie coming out right now that I want to see more than the Woman King.
Yeah, well, it's Woman
Black
King.
Panther.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Woman King and Black Panther. These are the two movies I'm looking forward to right now.
That's like Sophie's choice right there. It's like,
yeah.
But no, actually, I'll just go old school and just like watch 2 films in one night. That's been a while. I haven't done that. No, yeah,
it's a good time right there. I like that.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to our final bit of geeky news for today has to do with a topic that we have covered quite a bit, but thankfully haven't heard too much about. And now we've heard a pipe up of someone who I didn't anticipate. So Dave Chappelle this week has come out and decided to comment on Will Smith's slapping of Chris Rock at the Oscars earlier this year. I remember asking you guys what you thought Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle would say. And I remember that you guys were both like, no, they're not going to hold back on this guy. Because comedians, they got each other's back. And you know what? I kind of actually, that made a lot of sense to me. So to my utter surprise, Dave Chappelle has actually not sided with Will, but actually shown some actual empathy towards him of a sort. He made the comment of, a lot of people forget who Will Smith is. And then he said that while Will did the impression of a perfect person for 30 years, and he ripped his mask off and showed us he was as ugly as the rest of us. Whatever the consequences are, I hope he doesn't put his mask back on again and lets us see his real face breathe. And then he also made another comment that 10 minutes after us seeing 10 minutes before, he was about to get the biggest award, he acted like he was back in Philly. I found this to be a rather interesting response. Like, I know Chris Rock commented on Will Smith's slap, and it was like a little bit poking fun, a little bit not taking his apology seriously. But David Chappelle, I would say that I actually really liked that comment. But I wanted to hear what you guys thought before I gave more of my opinion. T, how about you, man? Like, what did you think of Dave Chappelle's comment on the slap?
I mean, say what you will about Dave Chappelle. I know there's been a lot of controversy around him regarding, trans, the alphabet community, and a lot of people are like hit or miss, or they have their mixed opinions on him, and I can understand it from both perspectives. But Dave has always been a very deep thinker, and especially like that goes back to like his actual show and like how he looks at the world, how he sees the world is very, very deep and introspective. And this picture shows, I mean, like he was in Will Smith's documentary that came out, I think, was it this year or last year? Which I can't really remember, but
last year, I think.
Last year, yeah. So obviously there is some kinship there, right? And so I'm sure that they both got a chance and opportunity to get to know each other very well. And especially behind closed doors, they've had conversations and whatnot. And Dave, you know, despite the controversy, he always comes off as very genuine. He's a very real dude, and he says it like it is, right? And I don't think he is the type of person to play favoritism. He can be very. I feel like he's very impartial in this case because I mean, obviously he's friends with Chris Rock, but he also sees it from another perspective as well. I remember there was a joke that he did. Um, it was like years ago where Kramer, I forget the actual actor's name, but
Oh
that
yeah.
actor Kramer, he went off like he was doing like a show at one of the comedy clubs, Laugh Factory or something like that, and I guess he was being heckled, and he basically just went off on like a racial slur tangent type shit, and pretty much destroyed his career in a matter of minutes. And Dave Chappelle went on to do like a small little set the night after, and he basically had this joke about how it was just like, yeah, the black in me, it was mad as fuck, but the comedian was like in me was like, ah, you'll get him tomorrow, Kramer, hang in there, kind of thing, right? So it was like, you know, that's kind of like hit like how he sees the world. Like he plays devil's advocate, and he puts he puts himself in the shoes of other people in that regard. And so based off of his comments, I kind of agree. I feel like, you know, nobody is perfect. We all have skeletons in our closet. We've all done shit that has been questionable. We're never going to leave this world squeaky clean. There's going to be some shit that, you know, and to scalable degrees, obviously, right? But we're we are imperfect human beings. And I think Will, given how he was raised, and like, you know, it's very well articulated in his book that he was always trying to portray a particular image. And when you're in the limelight and under the watchful eye of people who are either fans of you or waiting for your downfall, you know, that puts a lot of pressure on you to always uphold this squeaky clean image. And even it, like we've touched on this, and I'm not going to reiterate to ad nauseum about it, but you know, him being the type of rapper that he was, like he got a lot of scrutiny from a lot of like more hardcore rappers because of that, right? But he still maintained that position. And so I feel like there was a lot of pressure. And then obviously with the shit that's going on with him and Jada and that whole debacle that unfolded, again, more added pressure. And so eventually it's going to come a point in time where like, you know, you're gonna pop your top a little bit, and you're gonna go off the rails if you're pushed too far, right? um it's like what Joker said in The Dark Knight. It's like, you know, madness, all it takes is a
This
little
is
pushes it, or whatever he said, right? But it's like it
madness
only
as you skin deep. All it takes is a little push.
yeah. So I feel like that was the case with Will, and that's Dave basically identifying that, where it's like he was putting on this image and he got pushed a little too far and uncontrollably lost his temper, and you know, he showed the world who he not who he really is, because I don't believe that, you know, he's a disingenuous or a bad person. It's just he's human, and he showed us that he's human,
He
and
showed us his anger.
he showed us his anger. And I feel like a lot of us put in that position and under that duration of pressure for so many years would probably do something very similar. You know what I mean? And so it was just it just so happened to be the improper setting. You know, not to say that like if the setting was different, then it would justify his actions. But I'm just saying, like, it just made it worse, given that it was such a prestigious environment that where that happened, it just made it that much worse. So um I agree with Dave in the sense that, you know, I mean, I still think that Will should still like I'm twofold on this. I don't think it's as deep as like, oh, he's been putting on a mask. I think that everything that we've seen of Will has been genuine. It's just he's tried very, very hard not to show his human side. And I think if we got to see the human side a little bit more, it would be his actions would be a little bit more forgivable. Not to say that he has to go out here and start slapping motherfuckers left, right, and center, but you know what I mean. Like, I get what where Dave is coming from in what he said. So yeah, I'm hoping that this whole thing blows over and that we can go back. We can all go back to respecting Will and the legacy that he's built. Because at the end of the day, he's done a great body of work. He's still human. He's still a person. He makes mistakes just like the rest of us. And so we all just kind of need to chill on this whole slapping shit. And Chris Rock, I mean, he's entitled to his feelings, and whether he wants to forgive him or not is his prerogative. But you know, I just hope that he doesn't plan on milking this just, and like being like super bitter about it. And it happened. Yeah, it sucks. It was embarrassing for him. But at the end of the day, like, are you really going to be like pushing this narrative like 10, 15, 20 years, like, and still holding on to this grudge? Like, we're all men at the end of the day. And like, as men, like, if you do some fucked up shit to me, like, and like, at some point it's going to be like, we got to talk about it and then move on from it. And that's what it is. Right. So yeah, I don't know, man.
How about Darcy? How about you, man?
Before I give my thoughts, because they're gonna get deep, I gotta make a quick a brief. When you're saying about he just gotta go around slapping people, all I could think about was like him going on SNL at some point to like redeem his image, and the whole skit is people slapping him. Like everywhere he goes in life, it's like a slap. I'm like, just as a like, take the piss out of yourself to like light. I'm like, because I don't think he's ever been on SNL. So I'll be like, yeah, go on SNL and like reprieve yourself by like having people make fun of you. Because I mean, like Will, when he started coming back to social media after the apology, he posted a video of like, it's like a gorilla and like a baby gorilla, and the baby gorilla is like poking the mother gorilla, and the mother gorilla's like, and then he pokes it again and like turns around and starts chasing him. And the caption he wrote was like, me coming back on social media right now. But okay, so to the point of what Dave Chappelle said, so there was also a point where he said at the beginning about how people forget that he's a man from Philadelphia, and there's a whole aspect that like I've not met people from Philadelphia, like I haven't met any in person, but I've not seen any of the famous people come from Philadelphia and not talk about violence and not talk about aggression. That like it's like built into their DNA. It's like part of like their overall culture that people are very abrasive and aggressive. And Will is never shown to be that way, which does mean that in his persona, the mask that he's presented, he hasn't presented a full version of himself, because at this point we know that there is a abrasive, more difficult side to him that comes out of Philly. And we know, as Tactix has talked about in the podcast before, about his violent upbringing, right? So there's stuff in there, but he's not presented it. I also have very strong feelings, especially when watching his documentary, about him talking about how he's played into a racist narrative. And I've thought about this a lot since his documentary, and especially once this slap happened, it started deepening for me in the thought of like when I would grow up, right? And there's, we know better now. We know more about microaggressions, but even in family, because I'm mixed race, I would, present like, oh, I want to listen to like rap music. And when I was younger, it's like, oh, that's not good. Right. And, it's white people not understanding black people's music, not understanding culture and stuff like that. But then you present Will Smith and like, oh, yeah. And it would be celebrated. And it's because he represented what good black people are to white people. And he had said something to that effect in his documentary about himself, and had him starting to tear down his own walls. And I think when that documentary happened, he had his like breakdown, and he started trying to rebuild himself emotionally, which meant his facade was coming down. So when we got to the slap, I was like, I wasn't overly surprised, because it's like he's on the journey of redefining and refiguring himself out and how he presents himself to the world. And he's in that rocky journey. It's a rocky journey on its own. And then he got to this public stage, and in that middle of that up and down journey, he was in the low. and he was caught slipping in public. So sorry, I had to get all that out there because that's like the premise of what my feeling is.
Yeah.
I agree with Dave that I want Will to not present that same persona. I don't want him to present the good black man for the white people, right? I want him to present a more full picture of himself. And obviously, and because of the person that at least we've known him to be, he shouldn't be a person of like violence, nor does he presented that he wants to be that. But I do want to see him show multiple things. Like I would love to see in the future he's in the middle of an interview and someone asks a disrespectful question and he calls him out and his tone shifts and you feel it. And that being honest, instead of him presenting a certain way. I mean, I knew of him back, him talking about being on like tour when he was younger and getting into fights and stuff like that. And like people wouldn't think of him that way, but he would get into that stuff. Him and De La Soul were like two groups where they were like very, very positive music, but they would like throw hands on tour and people knew that. Like other like people in the music industry knew that, but people didn't know, like in the public eye, they wouldn't think of it that way. Yeah, because it would come across other groups, and the other groups would be all hardcore gangster rap, and it's like they would think they're soft, and they're like, no, we're not soft people, right? But anyways, I like Dave's perspective. I like his empathetic view on things. That he wants him to present a more true version of himself going forward. And yeah, but I'm still worried about Chris Rock, to be honest. I think he's just gonna milk this thing. Everything that's presented about the way he's reacted to it. I mean, everyone's got their own prerogatives, and he's got his own issues with like emotional, like dealing with emotions and stuff like that. But like, I just feel like somewhere along the line after this happened, people got it in his head, and he's just gonna milk this thing, and it's not gonna go well. So.
Well, for me, like, firstly, like, I agree with you guys regarding about Chris Rock, and also like Maybot is saying like it wouldn't be healthy to hold on to the grudge, and I completely agree with that. I will say that I have noticed a very slight transition in terms of blame. Like for example, like Will Smith was public enemy number one, despite all the shit that Ezra Miller is doing and like other people are doing. Everyone's like, yeah, but what about Will Smith? And it's like, it was a freaking slap. Like, let's calm the hell down. But I also was worried by Chris Rock's statements because it didn't sound like he was going to turn the other cheek or like try not to make it a big deal. But of late, I think that. And only recently, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but like Chris Rock was comparing what he went through with Will to like another group that had like suffered significantly more. And people were just like, hey, you want to check yourself on this. Like you're like, yeah, you're a victim, but like let's not connect you to like significant real victims of like I wish I remember the group that he did it, so it kind of defeats the point of me bringing up this point. But nonetheless, that was the first time I heard someone's being like, "Yo, Chris, check yourself." Having Dave Chappelle and like I do respect Dave Chappelle, but I find that he is able to make very good commentary, or very at least balanced commentary on things that he knows directly about. I feel he does have a rather uneducated or lack of like real experience with the trans community or the LGBTQ. I can't say it.
Alphabets.
Thank you. LGBTQ community. That he's speaking out of turn and is either promoting negative viewpoints or his own ignorance is being perpetuated to facilitate other people. Nonetheless, like I wish for him to have more context with that group before commenting. But with being a person from the Black community and also being a Muslim as well, LGBTQIA plus or alphabet. Thank you, Maybot. I actually regarding this point, he is very well versed in this. He's a comedian himself, so he has that experience. He said himself that he's been slapped by a homeless person while on stage, so like he's aware of being assaulted while doing a bit. And also he knows he's a celebrity who's had some severe scrutiny. So the fact that someone with his experience is able to come to this kind of term, and also being a comedian to kind of show that, like, hey, there's a lot of stuff there that isn't being talked about in the paper. And he actually touched on the point about being a perfect person in celebrity. And that's something that Tactix you've brought up quite a few times, which I think to be is like a very, I find a lot of people just kind of like disregard that. And I have been noticing a lot of actors have been lately very vocal about the mental health issues of being a celebrity, and also being very open about the fact that they are seeking that they are doing things for their mental health, and they are seeking help for their mental health, which I'm rather proud of. Like, celebrities are actually like validating that, hey, it's a good idea to go get therapy. So, and I saw Will Smith and I still see him as one of the loudest voices and examples of why that's a good thing. So I'm glad that Dave Chappelle is actually being empathetic and in a way supporting Will during all of this. That's just my 2 cents anyway.
By the way, this is totally off topic, but every time I see the plus at the end, all I can think of is that TikTok meme of the kid who goes like, "What does the plus stand for? Is that the premium version of gay?" I just love it.
I haven't seen that one, but
oh, it's like all the responses from people in the gay community they just love it. They're just like dying laughing, just like it's like the premium version. Like it's just like confused, like 6-7-year-old kid and just doesn't understand what I meant. Anyways, I'd lighten things up with that.
No, 100%, and I appreciate that. All right, cool. All right, so moving on to our next topic, which is going to be Maybot says, "Ha ha ha! It's the new game gay." So our next topic has to do with our weekly review of She-Hulk. I know we, due to the fact that this is being released on Thursdays, means that we're only giving people one day to watch it before we discuss the spoilers of the episode. But seeing as how Darcy has already started with like literally his introduction, I'm going to toss it to Darcy. And what did you think of this week's episode?
This was a riot. This was a good time episode. like I mean, I know you and I were going in Slack about the Wongers. I love that nickname. So this girl in the middle here, I don't even remember her name, but like
Madison, man. Madison.
Oh yeah, Madison. Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but not where you would think. And then she's like, "Can you spell it? MADIYSNN." I'm like, who spells like this? So good. Oh, and her post-credit scene was amazing. I love it. This was just a super fun episode. Like, it's just like, I don't know how to put it. It's like it does something that okay, thank you for the correction of my spelling. MADISYNN. I get, yeah, but it's not where you would
make sense.
She was right. It's not where I thought it was. It was on a different.
I love how the lawyer literally crossed out and rewrote her name too.
It's oh my god. I love how the opposing counsel was a magician too. You're just like, she's like, oh my god, he's a magician too.
With the rabbit too. He just like tosses it right on the table.
Oh, so the thing I like about this, so when we were talking about the post snap, right, and we wanted to see the impact of the post snap on the MCU, because like how we would talk about, hey, Star Wars, there's a greater world here. The universe is so big. Why is everything got to be focused around just the popular people, right? And so this episode is like an exact perfect example of like showcasing just other stuff happening in the MCU, like how there was a failed guy who went to oh my gosh,
Oh my gosh.
Comatage. Thank you. That's what I'm like, is that right in my head? Comatage, and he was a fail. Oh, sorry. Spoilers. I know we've already said it, but I'm saying it now. Like how he's a failed sorcerer, and but he still has, for some reason, the ability to open up portals, and how he's just like completely screwing things up. And how like Wongers here has to come in and like you try to sue him, and it's just like everyday stuff with superheroes behind the scenes. It's just hilarious and awesome to see. Like it wasn't even like a big building to anything, and I just love this. Like just I don't know, like I'm loving this, like how Tax and I was saying about like Miss Marvel. Like the part we loved about it was everything about being brown in New York and not about the superhero stuff. This show does a great job of just being fun and just doing really funny things, but actually using the superhero part of it to be part of the humor instead of it being like two things we got to compete with, like in Miss Marvel. I'm seeing there's some good stuff in the comments. Umar, enlighten us what you're laughing at.
I'm just laughing at what Maybot is writing in the comments. So Maybot says, bruh, I just want to know where Mordo is. Why has he left Donnie Blaze run rampant as much as he has? Justice for Benjamin Bratt.
Wow. Benjamin Bratt. Which one's Benjamin Bratt?
He was in the first movie. He was the guy who told Doctor Strange about Comertage because he was a paraplegic, and then Mordo in the post-credit scene like took his power from him and made him back a paraplegic again.
Oh yeah. That's a big point.
This motherfucker on screen. Oh,
Umar, you get too passionate, bro.
This show was triggering for me, man. But I'll discuss that later.
I mean, this is fun. I actually like seeing the how confident she is when she's a She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, what I find interesting is that she's like, oh, I'm in full control of this. Oh, I don't have a split personality, but I think she does. I think that like she does have something in her. No, I'm not saying like it's in the comics. What I'm saying is the way it's being acted, the fourth wall breaking. I know that's just part of the character, but the fourth wall breaking mixed with her like ultra confidence, it's like she's like on crazy adrenaline, which obviously she is, but like there's something about it where sometimes it just makes me feel like it is two different people. It's just more like two versions of the same person, whereas like Bruce Banner was a complete like mental split between like two different people, whereas there's still something here where it doesn't feel like she's 100% the same person. Once she goes Hulk, it feels like something changes a little bit. It's more like, how to put this,
it's when like someone gets money versus someone who didn't have money. Like they're the same person, but it has an effect on your personality. But it's still you.
Yeah, like all those movies where like the person finally gets what they want and now they act out fully, like after the makeover or something like that. But then they're still the same person underneath, right? And so it's just got that element to it, especially when this dude does what he does, and then her like seeing Jen and in that form. I don't know. It is a good effing time episode. Solid all around. Loved every second of it. Like I'm just here for the ride.
T.
Yeah, you guys liked it a little bit more than I did. I gotta be honest, man. Like I started enjoying it while like She-Hulk from the beginning, but now I'm at a point where I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, it's lighthearted, it's a fun ride, but like again, where are we going? Like what's the point of all this? I don't know. It's not really giving me much. I'm just not excited. I'm not as excited or as amped to watch these episodes, like it's not really doing much for me, to be honest. like it's enough to keep me invested. Like it hasn't completely lost me like Moon Knight did. But yeah, I don't know. I just
You don't like fun?
He needs a clear
it's
direction of where the story is going.
it's not even a matter of I don't mind fun, but it's like what like at some point I need something a little bit more thrilling. You know what I mean? Like I think my expectations are just really high because put it this way, it makes sense that this is a Disney show. And now because of what I'm seeing from this show, I'm concerned about Daredevil.
It's-
I'm just telling it like it is, man. Like, because I mean, this lightheartedness is cool. It's. I agree. It's fun. It's you know it's a nice like what Darcy said a long time ago. Not regarding this, but just in general, like it's a palate cleanser. If you're watching something super dark, then this is something to kind of clean up, like to clean the palate, to kind of give you a little bit more peace of mind. But it's like I'm not watching anything that's super dark, so I'm just getting a lot of palate cleanser, and I'm like, I need a bad taste in my mouth right now, in a good way, kind of thing. If that makes sense. Like I just I don't know. I'm watching this and I'm kind of like, oh, right, it cool, but like, look, if I can reflect back on the episode, it's like, and every week, am I going to say, oh, that was fun, that was fun, that was fun? Like, where are we going though? Like, what is this building up to? And I think that's the big problem with a lot of these TV shows because like we didn't have the TV shows before, so it was like all we had were the movies, and so obviously the movies had to build up to something, so you were always in anticipation, and like the movies had to build up to something in a very big way, right? Where like the next movie you're always looking forward to it because you're like, okay, how is this now going to connect to what we just saw in the last end credit scene of that last movie? You know what I mean? But with this, it's kind of like it just always it always it's always left feeling flat, like where it's like we watch it, it's enjoyable in the moment, but then like we don't really get anything from it. Especially with the end credit scenes, it's like the end credit scenes used to build up to something, and now it's just like these gimmicks, and I'm just like, okay, it again, it's fun, but it's like, what are we doing
Okay.
right now? What's the play exactly? What is the play? What's going on here?
Okay, so I will say that I really enjoyed this episode. I found it hilarious.
Good for you.
I also I am more aware of She-Hulk from the comics than probably you are. So like, I knew this would be a comedy. Like this was never going to be like a serious show. Like it was meant to be like another Daredevil style thing.
Wait, no, this is not a Daredevil thing at all.
Sorry, no,
And
sorry,
that's
not Daredevil. It's Deadpool type thing.
not even Deadpool, bro. This is not, for me, this isn't even, because at least Deadpool, like, I mean, the humor is still very campy here. Like, at least with Deadpool, it had,
Well, yeah, it was rated R. They were allowed to do whatever the
yeah,
hell they
you know what I
wanted.
mean? Like, so, yeah, exactly. I feel like there's still some limitations here. I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the comic book. So I mean, for all I know, this could be super accurate and it's just not really my flavor. But again, I just like, I feel like I don't know where any of this is going. And I'm just watching like a regular superhero sitcom.
That's literally the definition of the show.
Yeah, well, okay, but that's why I'm saying that's why I'm not really feeling, because that's not what I signed up for. I'm not really interested in a superhero sitcom. I want to see stuff build to something bigger.
So okay, before I go on with my review, I do want to ask, what do you want from superhero media?
I want Daredevil type shit. I want Punisher type shit. I want
Batman.
yeah, like I want things that, okay, just bad example because I don't read the comics, but like I'm familiar with the comics to a certain extent that I know that, and I hate using the word dark because I feel like that term is super overplayed now, but like I want more mature content, and like you can have humor in it here and there, but for the most part, I want something that's like a little bit more serious and not always like lighthearted, you know what I mean? And like, granted, you can have your mix of lightheartedness and like maybe this is the mix here, right? But because a lot of these shows now seem to be getting watered down and like the I don't know, just the humor is not really hitting for me. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's just not. I don't know. It's not really doing it for me.
Okay.
Like, Never Have I Ever. I'm surprised that I enjoyed that show.
I was just gonna bring that up. Damn it.
But that's the thing. But like it's obviously that's not the type of show that would be on Disney. But it's like the way that they talk is kind of like, okay, I've had those conversations before. You know what I mean? So like I can relate to that shit. And it pulls the stories pull me in. This doesn't really pull me in, even though I get it's a sitcom and everything, but it's just like there's nothing really there that I'm connecting to right now. And because I'm not connecting to it, I'm also not. There's nothing that's really pulling me in anticipation for something bigger. Like at this point, I'm like, I don't even care about seeing Daredevil because I'm like, he's just gonna be watered down too, probably.
Interesting. Okay, so first of all, would you say that Maybot's comment is accurate?
Yes and no. So I don't want to come off as like the fucking asshole that doesn't dig like the rom-com shit and like the lovey-dovey and all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, Never Have I Ever had it had some elements of the rom-com shit in there too, and I was digging it. I'm like, I want Debbie to like to hook up with someone, man. I want her. Davey, sorry. I want her to like hook up and like, fall for someone or like someone give her a chance or some shit. You know what I mean? I was digging that story. This it's just like I don't know what it is, but I'm just not connecting to it right now.
Okay.
It's not that it has to be like, full on brawl action all the time, but it's like at least give me something that I can again, I'm like, I don't know what to be excited for the next episode.
Okay. Would you say you're enjoying this more than Ms. Marvel or equally?
Okay, so Miss Marvel had a weaker start for me. Or actually, no. So the first episode, I didn't mind. And then it kind of had it took its time to kind of progress, and then it started to kind of grow on me. And then by the end, I was like, okay, I'm digging it. This one, first episode, solid, really enjoyed it. Second episode, I was like, oh, okay. And then it started to progress, and I'm just like nothing really built beyond what I've been seeing so far. And I'm just kind of like, I feel like they peaked at the first episode, and now I don't really know what to connect to with this.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah, maybe there's no story yet. It's like, what is the story?
She-Hulk.
Very nice. Very nice.
Weak rebuttal. Like
no. It's showing like an episodic. It's an episodic show.
Yeah.
Again, what is the story?
Yeah. Well, the episodic shows don't have a dramatic storyline. They don't have like a linear storyline through all the episodes. They have individual storylines for every episode. I normally don't like episodic. I just get tired of it. However, I do enjoy it with this one on the basis that it allows me to explore random things within the Marvel world. But the one thing I will say that unless this Titania proves to surprise me, I'm going to be really disappointed in that as being like an ultimate villain. That's the ultimate villain. I'm going to be like, you better bring it. You better bring it. However, I did see clips about the whole fact that like, where we're going with this, where she trademarks She-Hulk. I mean, like, that could be fun. We'll see.
Okay, so I'll say that based off the trailer that they've shown for the rest of the season and also where it's going right now, I'm very much enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. I'm really enjoying the comedic aspect. This episode, I originally was kind of annoyed with the character of Johnny Blaze. Sorry, not Johnny Blaze, Donnie Blaze. I just made the same mistake. A friend of mine, because like Johnny Blaze is Ghost Rider. The magician who's like just a fuck up is Donnie Blaze. So like everyone was just my friend was like, did they just make Ghost Rider into a fucking joke on She-Hulk? And I'm like, No,
That's
man.
what I thought too. I was like, what the
So-
fuck is this? And then he did some magic trick with the fire, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that is this gonna be our Ghost Rider?
Wow. Imagine.
People would. I think the internet would explode at that point. And the incels are going to like use this as their rallying call.
100%.
But like I will say that I really enjoyed this episode. I liked the writing of it because like like from the online dating stuff. Like granted, it was like a Muslim online dating experience, but like I can relate to her stuff, her meeting people and like getting kind of like progressively more like just like cynical about the whole thing, and then like meeting someone that you're like ooh, and then they turn out to be an asshole, so you're just like ugh. With Madison, I was just like, I found the actress killed it. The writing was on point. Like the character is inherently hilarious. However, as a real person, that woman would be someone that I would not be friends with. She spoils shit within 2 seconds of finding out you're watching something. That's not cool. And second of all, I don't like the name Wongers, man. I like Wong. No, don't call him Wongers. But that's just me. I'll like the internet love Wongers, so I'm leaving it alone.
That was the best freaking thing. I love her saying Wongers to him because it's so bad, but like it ends up making it like it by the end. Like she's coming Wongers, and you're like, oh, this is so like she is the best attorney to make any of these moments she's dealing with work in any capacity.
You look so sullen from that. You're just like up in the corner, like.
Yeah, well, to each their own.
No, I mean, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the MCU so far and all this shit that they've been putting out. I mean, no, I mean that genuinely. I don't mean like shit as in like, you know what I mean? Like again, like Darcy said, to each his own, right? I'm not really liking the direction, and I'm super pissed because it's like the DC doesn't look promising either. So if MCU continues to like be a letdown for me personally, I have nothing to look forward to. And I know I said after Endgame, I feel like I don't need it anymore, but like you can't just keep. It's like when you're like you just had dessert and then someone comes in with like a plate of cookies and it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm full, but like, how are you gonna just like bring my favorite cookies and not expect me to eat anymore? You know what I'm saying? So like,
and they're stale.
What, the cookies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to look forward to now.
Oh, but by the way, I just wonder if Benedict Wong actually gets called Wongers now at home. Like it mesmerizes me all the time that his real it was his real name Benedict Wong. So he's like his last name is this name of his character. His first name is also the name of his co-star. Like it's just like I'm sorry, it mesmerizes me that like that's his name. It's just amazing. Anyways, I loved it too much.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, like I will say that I don't think you need to be worried too much about the Daredevil stuff because the trailer that we saw with Daredevil actually speaking to She-Hulk, it sounds like he's still going to be serious.
Wait,
it's not like they're going to make. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, sorry. Did I not post that?
No, you did not.
No, you didn't.
That's my bad. There's a preview for the rest of the season, and they show Daredevil in it, and it sounds like he's still going to be serious, and she's going to be like the lighthearted, fun, like reacting to it. So, yes, I also agree with Maybot. Jake, aka the goat that or / demon that she made Madison made a deal with to get back home. Mephisto. Also, I think Jennifer's date, the one who was like, "Yo, can vibranium cut your skin?" I think he's with the person with the oh my god, I'm forgetting their name again. The people who attacked her in episode 3, the Wrecking Crew. I think whoever is the boss of the Wrecking Crew is also sent that date to find out if vibranium can cut through her skin because they want her blood. So, I mean, that's a weak story for me to like throw at you, T, but like,
Stop
Yes,
it.
it
You're not gonna
is.
get it. You're not gonna get anywhere with this. Just let it be. Hopefully the show itself wins him back. That's all we can hope for.
so now I understand that by your earlier comment about like MCU is on thin ice for you. I get it now. Okay, well, not to belabor a point, let's move on to our final topic. So, I'm forgetting which day it was, but hold on, let me just check. So on September 5th, aka Monday, marked the 30th anniversary of the start of the Batman animated series. I don't think anyone would be surprised that this was my bread and butter. Like this was a lot of people's defining Batman story, introduction, and experience. And it turned 30 this past Monday. It definitely makes one question themselves in terms of like how old they are, knowing that. But nonetheless, I loved the Batman animated series, and I will say that it is still the best animated series the best DC animated series in my opinion. And it is still the definitive Batman for me outside of the comics. The movies have not come close to making me like this was a perfect Batman. Kevin Conroy is Batman for me. Mark Hamill is the Joker for me. This was Batman. This was the Joker. And this was all the characters, all of them. And I would be surprised if anyone disagrees with me. And if they are like very much in disagreement with me, fuck you, fight me. So nonetheless, it turned 30.
Umar, do you think you're gonna win that fight though?
Well, if I'm fighting Tactix, no. Actually, if I'm fighting you too, no. But like, you know, I'll take my chances. If I'm fighting Maybot, no. But still, like, nonetheless, I'll win someone. Okay, I'll win against someone, and like I'll even lose the fight. But I'm fighting.
You went hardcore. I asked no one question. You just defeated yourself with the answer so quickly. If it's this person, I mean, like no. But I mean, if it's that definitely no. But it is. I mean, not a whole chance in hell. But you know, somewhere down the line, there's a scrawny weakling I could take on.
I'll just beat up some kids.
Umar goes back. I got beat up by 7-year-olds.
Shut up, man! I wouldn't that fight. Anyway, so I thought it would be awesome for us to talk about, or like just like mention one or two of our favorite Batman animated series episodes that still have a hold on us even after 30 years. So T, let's start with you, man. What like one or two episodes of the Batman animated series that you remember that just held you, man?
Oh man, it's been so long, honestly, since I've seen this series. I don't know why Netflix hasn't put it out yet. Like, hasn't
Warner Brothers is not going to let them have it.
Man, well, in any case, the one that comes to mind that has kind of always stuck with me is I think the episode is entitled "Almost Got Him," where
that's a great one.
Yeah, where they're all the villains are all sitting around playing poker, and they're telling the story of how they almost killed the Batman, and then I think there's like Poison Ivy, the Penguin, Riddler, the Joker.
Not Riddler. It was Killer Croc, Two-Face, and Joker.
Man, you have an amazing memory. I'm surprised you remember that. But anyway, and it turns out that Killer Croc is actually Batman in disguise, and he was trying to infiltrate them and a plan that they were like conspiring with or something like that. But I found that to be a fun, cool episode, and like seeing all the like different storylines intertwined into that one episode was really cool. And the fact that, you know, it shows Batman's awesome like detective skills and like his willingness to like go undercover, and the whole like him like dressing up as Killer Croc, and it just kind of highlights a lot like how skilled he is, and like I mean, he's Batman, right? So it's not really a surprise, but it's always cool to see those different kinds of skills that he possesses in his arsenal. So yeah, that was one that really stuck out to me. I remember there's like the Two-Face one, Two-Face's
Oh yeah.
origin storyline. I found that one to be really cool as well. Um, but yeah, those are the ones that really stick out to me. To be honest, I have to go back and rewatch the series, but yeah, I agree with you, Umar. This was a solid series.
Darce?
Yeah, so I mean, like Hex kind of said, like I don't have the strongest memory of things. Like I watched this when I was a kid, right? And then, it's definitely something I would like to go and rewatch. If I ever want to get an HBO Max subscription. But
Or Blu-ray for your birthday?
okay, Umar, like I don't have a Blu-ray player. I thought about it for a second. I'm like, it's not a bad idea, except for I have nowhere to put that. Like, you know what's actually funny is I actually have a DVD player, not Blu-ray player, but I have a DVD player that's a USB that hook up to my laptop because I needed to like pull old music off of like I made years ago because I almost lost. And it was whole thing. But like I have a DVD player that hooks up by USB, but I don't want to watch it like that.
Okay.
Anyways, there's two episodes that kind of always stuck out for me in memory. I did like the one that almost got him too, though. Like, but I looked up online to see if I was like remembering which episodes. I think I nailed. Well, one I'm certain of, but the other one I'm pretty sure it was this episode. There's just always a couple of scenes that stuck out in my head. So, the one is a bit more on the obvious side. I think it might show up on your list, Umar, which is Heart of Ice.
Of course.
Yeah, just the power of like it's the reinventing Mr. Freeze. It is everything about his origin, his wife, and just the power of it. It's just great writing. So that one had to go down on my list. But one that always like stuck with me as a kid, and it always kind of creeped me out. And I'm pretty sure this is the episode, but even if it wasn't the episode, it's more about the character and how it was portrayed within the show, which was Read My Lips, and with the ventriloquist.
Both of mine.
But it was just like the whole one as a kid, like the whole ventriloquist aspect of it and the duality and the complication. That like was presented like as a kid, it just messed with me. Like it begged this question as a child. As an adult, I fully get it, but as a child, I actually had the thought: is the ventriloquist actually real? Like, is it an actual separate entity? And I like that messed with me so much as a kid that like it always stood out to me as the thing that I always remembered. Even as an adult, sometimes I'll remember a random clip from it and I'll just be like, but is he real? Still to this day. So yeah, those are the two for me. And sorry, Umar, you're gonna have to come up with two more.
Yeah, like you guys literally took all like my two and my backup. So okay, so like I will say that the next two that that's hilarious. But
you know what though, that actually looks like that would be a good film. Like, you know what I mean? Like if they animated it and just like did it proper, like I'm like, I actually want to watch that. Oh, I know what that is.
I would say that the other two that stood out for me, one would be the Beware the Grey Ghost. And that's when Adam West came and dressed up as like voiced the guy who inspired Batman. And that one, like when Adam West passed away, I actually went back and watched it, and like it was really good. The other one, which is a two-parter, that I found to be that still to my mind sticks in my the like is definitive, is Robin's Reckoning, when they go into like Robin's backstory about like how he like his parents were killed and how Bruce took him in, and then also how like Bruce like was trying to stop him from going after the guy who killed his parents. So yeah, like those would be the ones that I like that, aside from the ones that you guys talked about. And there's so many more. Like there's the one like the introduction of Clayface, which was really fucked up. And also the two-parter that had Ra's al Ghul show up, and like even the Mad Hatter was kind of like the one where he like makes Batman like dream, where he like thinks himself as like living a happy life, and like but like he realizes he's in a dream, and like he forces himself to wake up by like committing suicide. So it's just like, oh shit. So like there's so many episodes, and also Appointment at Crime Alley, and on Leather Wings, and also like the Batman New Adventures that also like got really fucked up too, and also like the introduction of Harley. So like it's just like, and also like Harley and Poison Ivy's like team up episode, which apparently like literally that idea spawned an entire TV series that's like on 3 seasons going on 4. Yeah, it's just like honestly it's so good.
Yeah. By the way, Tactix, good job on these posters, man.
100%.
Thanks, yo. Thanks. I didn't actually create them. I just found them just as a FYI to anyone watching. They were like, "Oh man, he's an artist too."
Yeah,
I would believe it though.
Hand drawn everything. I love it, man. No, just good selection.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is all for our show today. So I'm gonna volley it back to you, T.
Cool. All right. Well, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in or listening at home, wherever you're at. And stay tuned for next week, where we'll be on same time, same bat channel. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, just Darcy here.
This is Big Geek Umar. Please like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Live long and prosper. And for those of you who are watching later, in the description, you're going to see timestamps. So if you want to skip ahead to the next topic, or to go directly to a topic that you want to hear, just go right ahead and click those links. All right. Peace.
Wongers. Wongers.